Welcome to the Kobe Bryant Film Room. And we're back, right? We're back to talk about Kobe Bryant's 81-point game. With Stephen A. Smith and Sonny Hill. The legendary Sonny Hill from the Philadelphia area, y'all. Y'all might know him from the Wilt Chamberlain archives, right? Talking about Wilt. Sonny Hill believes in his heart that Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest player of all time. Hey, no argument here, right? We salute Wilt Chamberlain. We respect Wilt Chamberlain. And he achieved feats no other player can say they achieved. But in this video, we're going to be talking about Kobe Bryant's 81 points. Right? Here we go.
Kobe Bryant's 81-point outburst last night against the helpless Toronto Raptors was the second highest point total in NBA history, and it was more than Michael Jordan ever scored in a single game. Kobe still has a way to go to catch Wilt Chamberlain's NBA record of 100 points in a single game, but he smashed Elgin Baylor's Lakers record of 71 points, which was set against the New York Knicks in 1960. Let me say this. Is there any question at all right now who the best guard in the game is? Anybody with sense should know Kobe's the man right now. Make absolutely no mistake about it. He is unstoppable.
So I want you guys to understand Kobe's 81-point game, right? In retrospect, looking back, right? Y'all realize Kobe shot 61% from the field? Right? Do y'all realize this man made 7 3-pointers? He shot 13 of them and made 7 that game? Do y'all realize he was 53% from the field? Right? I think he had 3 steals too. And he started off slow. The greatest performance in modern NBA history. Right? The greatest performance in modern NBA history. And the reason why it's the greatest scoring performance in modern day history is because the era in which he did it, the slower pace, right? The percentage of his team's points that he actually accounted for, right? When you're going to a game of 96 and one man scores 81, y'all do the math on the percentage on that. It's a huge ass percentage. So Kobe also scored 62 points in 3 quarters, which I think is even better than the 81-point game. Because he outscored an NBA team by himself. These are individual numbers that prove a person's value and proves a person's greatness. So when we talk about who's the greatest individual singular player of all time, we can isolate it. We have to strip down teams and isolate y'all.
And he's reestablishing himself the way that you should. He's showing himself the man is fixated on basketball. He is dominating in every facet of the game. And
now, I must say, I'm not a big fan of Stephen A. Smith. I think he's loud. I think sometimes he can be arrogant and condescending, right? But that's a nice suit, bro. I can't even lie. That's a nice ass suit. Stephen A. was styling on them niggas back then. Dog, quite frankly, this era of Stephen A., I used to like this era of Stephen A. This Stephen A., I like this Stephen A. But then after what they did to him, man, on TV, making him apologize and all this stuff, and him going after Kyrie and Kevin Durant and all that shit, man, I just felt like his problems with AI and Carmelo, all that shit that he was doing, man, I just felt like he was a capper after that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Put it to y'all this way. I spoke to Coach Sam Mitchell of the Toronto Raptors earlier today. Here's what he told me. Steve, we doubled them. We trapped him when he got past half court. Couple of times we triple teamed him. We played the box and one, which you don't use unless you're in college. He said, Steve, I did everything but mug that boy. And still, this man dropped 81 points on us. It's the most phenomenal performance that I've ever seen. And then when I asked Sam Mitchell, how would you compare him to Michael Jordan, especially if he ends up winning a championship? He said, first of all, I wouldn't bet against Kobe winning the championship in the next 5 years. And secondly,
and he was absolutely correct. That's how you know a nigga put his foot in your ass. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew what he was looking at. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, people doubted Kobe. So Sam Mitchell gets credit for actually believing in Kobe during that time. Nobody thought he was going to win without Shaq.
Importantly, he's got 3 rings already, and he's fixated on a game in ways that these guys today don't even know how to be. He plays on both ends of the floor. Not only did he drop 81 points, he was sticking my best guard and shut him down.
And that's why I said this particular season, and I got to do more research on this, but I think this particular season, you could make a strong argument he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. Like, Kobe in this year had around 2 steals a game, y'all. Right? And I want to cover that because, bro, the biggest robbery, the biggest heist of all time is niggas saying with a straight face. They tried to tell me with a straight face, y'all, that Steve Nash deserved that MVP over Kobe. Steve Nash only won 7 more games than Kobe with another All-Star on his team and another All-NBA defender.
End of discussion. I want to hear any more about it. Now I can ask about Kobe and his greatness. We're not debating that this boy is great right now. We're going to debate how he compares to other greats in history, but we're not debating his greatness anymore. He's the man right now, plain and simple. For more than 3 decades, Sonny Hill has been a Philadelphia basketball insider whose relationships range from ties to Kobe and his family to
a basketball savant, a genius, a legend in the game. Y'all look up Sonny Hill.
A close friendship with NBA legend Wilt Chamberlain. Sonny, who serves as an executive advisor to the Philadelphia 76ers, joins me right now from the city of brotherly love.
And Sonny Hill seen a young Kobe, y'all. A young Kobe.
Sonny, you saw Wilt score 100 points and Kobe score 81. How is Kobe Bryant comparing with the league's all-time great players?
Right now, he's in the top 4 of the pantheon of great players. What people don't understand, Kobe is not playing against the play.
You see that? Sonny Hill had him top 4 in the pantheon of players back then when he won 3. You know what I'm saying? Y'all feel me? This is real basketball experts right here. Come on now.
Of this era, Kobe is playing against the legends of the game. So when you now talk about Kobe Bryant, you now have to talk about him in the same terminology as you would with the Big Dipper, with Elgin Baylor, with Michael Jordan, and he's right in that group. So
you hear that? No doubt about it. Now, the media would like you to think he was competing with LeBron. Kobe won't compete with nobody. No, listen, Kobe had, this is why Dwayne Wade said, we weren't Kobe's competition. Kobe already had 3. Dwayne Wade and LeBron and Bosh were trying to prevent Kobe from getting 6. And the reason why they tried to prevent him from getting 6, because it would make them look bad. That they were in the same era and they couldn't even get more than 2. Well, more than 1. Right? So Kobe, his competition was Michael Jordan. His competition was Wilt, Kareem. Not those guys that he played. Dwayne Wade came in the league, Kobe was already established. 3-time world champion. It was the fans and the media who put Dwayne Wade versus Kobe, who's the best shooting guard in the league. Right? After everything Kobe accomplished.
That only the 4 of them can even talk about, simply because Kobe has visited the 60-plus number as well as the big 81 that he put up.
Sonny, a lot of people don't realize how many games you show up. You practically live at the arenas. You watch all of these games. You're practically at every Philadelphia 76ers home game, walking around and everything else. People talking whether it's Allen
And them people in the audience quiet as a motherfucker.
Iverson, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade are people of today's era that some of them.
I gotta see if those people in the audience real people. Hold on. Let's go back.
Philadelphia 76ers.
Hey, look, they looking at the wall and shit like
Whole game walking around and everything else. People talking about
they
this.
not moving. Does Stephen A have a real audience? Look like the pandemic. Remember the pandemic during the playing tournament? They had all them cardboard cutouts of niggas and shit. They said, Stephen A, we gotta give you a show, but we can't find real people to put your
Allen Iverson, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade are people of today's era that some of them compare are even better than Kobe Bryant. Are you saying that Kobe Bryant is better than all of those guys?
Right now, he would have to be at the top of the list because the other players don't get into that big four. When you're talking big four of scoring and really being offensive players in the history of the NBA,
no doubt.
You have to talk about the big four that I just talked about, and Kobe's one of the big four.
What makes Kobe so great as a basketball player?
And you have to do it on both ends. Your offensive ability combined with your defensive ability. That's what puts you in the top 5, in my top 5. You can't get in my top 5 if you're not a great, all-time great defender, and if you're not at least top 3 in your position at defense. So, hey, that's going to make a lot of people mad. I'm going to say it again. You got to be at least top 3 in your position on defense to be in my top 5.
Estimation.
Well, there's a couple things. First off, it's his inner drive, as I said to you, and this is something that nobody else knows because Kobe and I shared this a few years ago.
Let me take it to top 5. You got to be at least in my top 5 to be defensively. Top 5. I said top 3. I meant top 5.
He wants to be one of the great players of all time. Not a great player in this era, but one of the great players of all time. The other thing that separates him from so many other players is he's got the Philadelphia game. You know what that is?
No, I don't. Tell me.
The Philadelphia game is the pull-up jump shot, baby. You know, like you put it on the floor.
The 2-dribble pull-up, right? That's how you know you got a bag because basketball players are taught how to score with the least amount of dribbles, right? So that 2-dribble pull-up, that's a weapon, y'all. And it's vital when it comes to the clutch.
You say, oh, no. And then you shoot the 3-point and you say, hey. And then when you run up on me, right to the hoop ski and do what Dip did all the time. Tomahawk in your face. And then look at you and say, where am I from? Philadelphia.
At Ed Morse, if we say it, we mean it. And when we say you're back,
you gotta love Sonny Hill, man.
We have
A legend, man.
Now and for miles down the road.
Y'all study that, man. For real.
Backed by Morse.
All right, Sonny.
He's seen so much basketball throughout his time. It's ridiculous.
Okay, Sonny. But when you think about Kobe, a lot of people, even I had to answer this question today. Somebody said, could Kobe ever, when you look at the feat of 81 points, could he ever duplicate that? Could you see him scoring 100 points? And again,
Kobe could have scored 100 points, I think, some other times before that. Maybe twice other than that time period. Because I think Phil Jackson held Kobe back a lot from like most of his best scoring outputs. 62 3/4. Could Kobe have played another quarter and got to 100? I think so. Yeah. I've seen Kobe go off 50 3/4. How many times, y'all go back, we're watching, we're going to go through the games, but how many times we seen Kobe score 50 3/4? Right?
in this particular era the way the Big Dipper did, as you said?
No, because even to score 81 points exceeded my expectation of any player in this era. You must understand this, that in this era, very few teams score 80 points.
Y'all hear that? And so when we having these debates, that is the thing, how difficult it fucking was during that time period, y'all.
The average in the NBA right now for the teams, an aggregate, is probably around 94, 95 points. So they don't even score 100 points. And for Kobe to get 81 points in this era.
Yep, 81, and they niggas scoring around 96 points a night, y'all. Think about that shit.
Is a phenomenal feat until.
And then the 62 3/4 outscoring the whole team by yourself, bro. Kobe shot 61% when he's dropped 81 points, bro.
Itself.
But Sonny, how much credit do you give the fact that to the fact that it was against the Toronto Raptors? I mean, I love my man Sam Mitchell, the coach, but they weren't playing against the
I
Toronto
don't give a fuck if it was against the Harlem Globetrotters.
Raptors. Not exactly a playoff caliber team or defensive stalwart, mind you.
Well, you see the difference between what you're talking about. See, you're a New York guy. You don't know about.
Well, see, I think the difference between when Wilt scored 100, and y'all gotta understand, Wilt's teammates were trying to help him get 100, right? He was literally stat padding that game, right? Go do your research on that 100 points game. And this isn't to knock Wilt, but this is the facts. Wilt was actually stat padding in a higher paced era, and the starting centers for that team, I forgot the team they went against, the starting center was hurt. So he had to play, there was a smaller guy guarding him when he scored that 81. So Wilt had a huge advantage. The dude was like a third string backup. He was a third string player, right? So this is different than what Sonny Hill just said. Man, bro, the level of difficulty, shooting 61%, hitting 7 of 13 threes, in an era where they're only going to 96 points per game.
Scoring a whole lot of points.
There you go.
See, I'm a Philadelphia guy, and I know about scoring a whole lot of points because I did that. When you go to the gym and you put up those kind of numbers, as you open up when you said Sam Mitchell and his team tried to devise everything they could so that he would not be able to get the points. And as Kobe said, when they ran at me for the double, I shot the jumper. When they ran at me with something else, I split them. And when they stayed back, I dropped a three-point hammer on them.
All right, but before
The hammer.
I get to my next question, let me play something for you. Scottie Pippen made some comments about Kobe and Michael Jordan earlier today on the show Cold Peach on ESPN2. Sonny, I want you to listen to Scottie.
Now y'all gonna see Captain ass Scottie up here. Scottie never can make up his mind. He went from Kobe had never be up there with Mike to Kobe's better than Mike to there's nobody who equals Mike to LeBron's better than Mike to he's better than Mike. Scottie he went all around the spectrum of that shit. Now he just resorts to saying fuck Mike.
They respond. Go ahead and play that soundbite for me, fellas.
I mean, judging on the way that the game is today, you look at the rules, you look at the hand checking of what was allowed back then when Michael Jordan was playing basketball at his highest level. It was a different defensive game. In today's game, if you look at it, players are a lot more freelance. They have a lot more opportunities to score the basketball. And what we're seeing in a guy like Kobe Bryant, who's a lot more mature from a mental standpoint in the game than where Michael Jordan was at 27. He's taking advantage of it.
Do you think Jordan could have?
Okay, so this is the thing, right? Kobe shot 7 of 13 threes. Could Michael Jordan do that and score 81 in a game? I don't think he could. I don't think he could, y'all. That wasn't his game. His game won't shooting threes. It just wasn't. And this is the thing, right? Scottie said two things that kind of bothered me, right? In the 90s, they scored more per game, right? In the 80s, it was fast paced. They scored more per game. It was faster pace, right? The pace was a lot faster when Mike was scoring his points. So, no, I don't think, shout out to the Case for Kobe Bryant as the GOAT YouTube channel. he brought up effective field goal percentage, and Kobe had a higher effective field goal percentage of 49. I think Mike was around 40, 46. So Kobe shot and made more difficult. Kobe scores the most unassisted jumpers in NBA history, meaning nobody passes him the ball and he scores. He creates his own shit. Not saying Mike wasn't great and Mike couldn't put up numbers. I'm just saying, bro, like that scoring output, bro, you have to be, the 3-point has to be part of your game for the most part. And Kobe was willing to take a lot more threes than Mike. I don't think Mike would have shot. Mike doesn't gamble as much as Kobe does offensively.
Scored 81 in the game?
I think it would have been very difficult, you know.
That's the reason why sometimes Kobe shoots a little lower percentage.
I said the rules,
Right.
but I think if the rules were put in place back when Michael Jordan was in his prime, no hand checking, the game was more geared towards offense, wanting to sort of promote scoring in the game, he could have probably got close. I mean, he did score 69.
Young thought. What, Sonny?
Oh, he's right on target. Some people have called me today, and you have to look at the eras of basketball. You got to understand Scottie Pippen, and when Michael was playing, and Scottie, I knew Michael before you knew Michael, because I'm one of the
Sonny Hill.
advisory committee. So I saw him play in Wichita, Kansas, in the McDonald game. So Michael and his family were close. But in Michael's era, it was one hand check. When Wilt was playing, it was two hand.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? This is my thing, right? Hand checking can be tough depending on who's hand checking you, right? But hand checking against faster guards who have handles can get you cut the fuck up too, right? Because you have to be, if you hand check somebody, you touch them, you're leaning on them, they can really manipulate you, right? On top of that, zone defenses mean you have to be able to shoot, right? The spacing of the game has to be conducive, and the pace of the game, right? Now, the pace of the game in the 80s was way higher, right? And Mike never achieved that goal, right? Could he possibly do it? It's Michael Jordan. He possibly could put up points, so he possibly could do it. I just don't see it, given that he didn't really, I mean, during this era, Kobe was really revolutionary during this time, because y'all remember, Kobe broke the record for threes. Him and Donnell Marshall for 12 threes a game, right, in the 2000s. So guys didn't usually take that many threes even in Kobe's era. So y'all gotta just understand the place the space that Kobe was at during that time. Plus, Mike was able to go a lot of one-on-one due to the illegal defense rule. I'm not saying he never got double teamed. I'm not saying he never faced the zone. But if you look at Michael Jordan, what he said the zone is made to get the ball out of the star's hands, which is what Sam Mitchell tried to do. He couldn't get it done because Kobe had so much of a bag, so much of an arsenal. Kobe shot against zones. He didn't give a fuck.
Checks. And Earl Strong, the legendary referee who's no longer with us, said this to me a number of times. He said, Sonny, if we called all the fouls on Wilt, we wouldn't have a game. So there was two sets of rules for Wilt when he played. But Scottie is right that the product is a product of 30 teams now, which means it's watered down. The rules are such that if you breathe on a player today, that they get to the foul line. But take nothing away from the fact. Let me tell you, what did that man score? He scored 81 points. And let me tell you something else about basketball. Most people couldn't get up 48 shots if you told them to take 48 shots.
It takes a lot of energy. But as far as the league being watered down, 2005, 2006, well, Kobe was in the West, right? Now of course he was going against Toronto. Toronto wasn't the greatest team, but who was Wilt facing when he scored 100? Who was his competition when he faced scored 100? Right? Now Jordan did it in the playoffs, right? Which is key. So that's why Jordan has one of the greatest performances of all time too, because he did it in the postseason against a great opponent, right? So Jordan possibly could have done it, but when you look at the 80s, could he do it and win, right? Could it equal wins, right? Could he score 81 and win the game? Could he shoot 60% from the field, 61% from the field, and win the game? Right? So I mean, we just gotta look at it, right? And then who were Kobe's teammates, right? They relied on him to carry the weight. So I just think that, and on top of that, let's get to the 90s. The 90s had expansion teams as well. The 80s East was a little bit better than the it was a little bit better competition back then. But I mean, you could argue that Mike could have done it. You can make an argument, but the fact remains, he didn't.
So that in itself tells you what kind of a gift that Kobe has, and really how astute he is in terms of how to play the game of basketball.
And let's say this too. Everybody trying to discredit the 81-point game as I feel like Scotty was trying to say, well, Michael could do it too. Kobe played in the 90s. Kobe played against hand checking in the early 2000s. So let's not forget that. And the lower scoring that Sonny Hill mentioned, that should be what makes it so special, right? So it's not like, hand checking would have stopped Kobe. Kobe averaged 30 with hand checking. So, we just got to be honest.
And said all of that, Shaquille O'Neal is going. It's Kobe's team. We all know that. He's got Lamar Odom.
He went on a three-peat with hand checking.
They're going to need some pieces. They might even need to swap Lamar Odom in order to get the pieces necessary in order to end up winning an NBA championship. Do you see Kobe winning an NBA championship again without the services of Shaquille O'Neal?
I think so, because the resources will be there because of the Los Angeles Lakers and Dr. Buss. And Phil Jackson must have been a lot wiser than a lot of people thought. Phil wouldn't be back coaching if he didn't think that there was some potential within the framework of what's going on with the Lakers. And most important...
Absolutely not. And those who think Phil would come back without Kobe are just assholes. Phil would never do that. He'll never put himself in a position where he doesn't have a chance to win. Never.
He had some insight to the drive and determination. What Kobe needed was somebody like Phil to kind of put a steady hand on him and that team, and the best is yet to come.
Sonny,
and it came, right? And it came. Kobe ran through the West like a hurricane. He ran through the NBA, and 3 top 75 players had to come together in an attempt to stop him, right? And that's what's special about it, right? That's what's special about it, y'all. But this is the Kobe Bryant Film Room. I wanted to react to this and kind of go back in the day and show y'all, right? Show y'all what people were saying back in the day. So this is the Kobe Bryant Film Room, and I'll holler.